Hey, good afternoon, team. This is Mrs. Velasquez, and it is a beautiful Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, I should say. I just got back for a little yoga, so I'm zen. I am ready to come together, and I'm ready to try to give you guys an overview of week 2. Now, week 1, we had our Schoology orientation. So week 1 resources had you work on a scavenger hunt, looking at different etiquette, looking at different safety regulations, trying to play around with some of the features of Schoology, which some of you found out are tricky. So please keep in mind the same issues that you're having, that I'm having. It's district-wide. Most teachers were notifying the district and were notifying Schoology. So as per anything, right, you are the pioneers. You are the ones that are navigating uncharted waters. And so there's a learning curve with that. So just please be patient. Please, again, I appreciate a lot of people emailed me through Schoology or again directly through my Gmail. So that's always an option if you're feeling anxiety or a little concerned. So that's number 1. Number 2, if you're concerned about deadlines, I also want to address. Usually then when we start getting into the routine of the week, I'll be posting our week on Sunday, and then you'll have 1 week to complete the assignments. So due to the fact that some people had some trouble logging on or some of the features or just general confusion, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to extend the deadline for week 1 just to Wednesday. That should be more than enough time just to make sure you've had enough time to catch up, you've completed the assignments, you've sent your emails, so all of those things. And then also your Flipgrid. I did change the discussion board, so instead of the discussion board, which was locking a lot of people out, I changed it to a Flipgrid. So if you have not looked at 1.4, I did change the format for that. So that being said, most people will be complete, and there are a few people that are almost done with week 1, which is beautiful. So if you are on target, excellent. I'm just going to make that deadline just a little more flexible just to make sure everybody catches up with that material. For those that are ready to move on, I am posting week 2. So the purpose of the video is to try to tell you where you need to go and try to show you what you need to be working on as far as you plan out your weekly calendar for this week. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look. You can see right here, week 1 is open with the Schoology orientation. So I've just opened week 2, Intro to Class and Why History Matters. So when you click on that, you're going to find the weekly overview. Just another quick reminder to address, I placed this at the top of the first 2 weeks. If you do find you're experiencing some issues with downloading materials or accessing some of the resources, you might want to troubleshoot. I put a link to download Chrome. That might be a good way to kind of update your browser, and that might be able to access some of the Schoology troubleshooting. All right, week 2 learning log. If you click on 2.1, you go ahead and click it. It looks very, the language and objectives are the same as last week. I did use a different format this week. So I posted it as an assignment, so similar directions from last time. So when you click on it, you should be able to open up a Google Doc. The Google Doc, I also changed it up just a little bit. I'm still trying out some different formats as well. So when you click on week 2 learning log, you're going to find that it is posted the objectives. It also has the requirements for the learning log or learning journal in that case. I want to remind you, obviously, since we're at an honors level writing course, that I want to make sure when you do submit your learning journal, you do want to make sure you use those full, complete sentences. You do want to make sure they're not just short thoughts. Had a good day, learned some stuff. So we definitely want to practice using, again, academic vocabulary as well as writing. Now you do have options of questions to write about. There's some questions I posed to last week. Thought maybe it would be a little easier to understand. I use sometimes the term the rosebuds and the thorns. So for the rosebud, thinking about went well. How much did you understand about this week's topics? So looking at the topic we're going to introduce is historical thinking. What areas of growth can you identify in your learning? What did you find interesting? What do you think is important or relevant to the world today? And then what do you feel good about? And remember, specifically relating to this course is what the learning log is for. The thorns, maybe the difficulties, what didn't go so well, where are you struggling to keep up, what could have improved that experience, problems you've encountered, and questions you still have. Right, also included in 2.1, which is the weekly calendar. So if you click on the weekly calendar, you're going to find that there's a Google form. Now the Google form I did post this week is a quick YouTube video looking at planning and organization. So since this is the first week back, the first full Monday through Friday school week, I should say, you got to start thinking about how you're going to be carving out time for this course. Your teachers in your regular seat-based sections will start giving you homework assignments. A lot of you mentioned that have submitted emails that you're involved in clubs, that you're involved in AVID, you're involved in ASB. So because you're involved in other classes, starting to carve out and think about when are you going to make time for this course and to keep up with the content. So here's a little checklist. So I did post the different assignments for this week. So thinking about when am I going to tackle each of the assignments, there's 5 total. So hello, Miss Velasquez, you might maybe sit down, okay, well, Tuesday I have some time after my soccer practice, or, before I go have dinner, I'm going to sit down and knock out 2.2, hello, Miss Velasquez. And then maybe, Wednesday, you have other homework, but then maybe, Thursday, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to really listen to the flipped lecture, which is the historical thinking. So I would also suggest the Google Calendar is a nice feature, right? Because it's a little check mark. But I really would recommend if you have access to your student planner. So I know for our site right now, we don't have our planners yet. So maybe just a notebook that you can jot down or start organizing. I know most schools will be issuing the agendas and planners pretty soon. So having something in front of you to also sort of marry the e-learning format with your seat-based classes will be a very valuable resource. All right, 2.2 is hello, Mrs. Velasquez. So if you click right here, you're going to find the requirements. Now I just want to remind you that this letter is for student-teacher communication. So this is not for your other classmates to take a look at this, just so I can better understand you as a student. This gives you some criteria, so you don't have to respond to all of these, but to definitely help me understand you as a student. Now the 2 options that you can have the option of writing the letter, which again you have the Dropbox, you can turn it in, and then the second option you can have is recording a video, which is kind of fun. I'm getting used to recording all these videos for our weekly assignments and trying to get used to recording other lectures. So it's good practice if we're playing with the e-learning format, maybe trying to put a face with the name and try to play around with the video feature. So that would be 2.2 in that case. All right, 2.3 is where we get our first flip lecture, which is historical thinking. So historical thinking, what does it mean to think like a historian? What types of inquiry questions we'll be asking? So the flip lecture is posted on YouTube. I provided the link. I believe it's about 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Now, the way the flip lecture works, of course, is that you would need your own notebook or a place to take your notes. That's always a good strategy, is to have a place to jot down those notes. Listen to the lecture, pause along the way, try to summarize the lecture, try to also expand with different examples. So this is just a level 1, just intro and some of the terms, some of the vocabulary we'll be using. So for example, introducing things like primary and secondary source. After you've completed the lecture, you've taken notes, and I've also posted just a quick check-in quiz just to make sure, check for understanding and that you completed the lecture. So that will be part of this category. All right, 2.4 is why history. Now I posted an article on a Google Doc that is titled Why History. So the Google Doc, when you open it, is going to provide you with your own Google Doc. So the directions are up here. You want to read and annotate why history. Now to annotate a Google Doc, I'll show you in just a moment. What you're going to do is you're going to highlight the passage and you're going to click on the right-hand side. Usually there's a little plus button that asks you to add a comment. So as you go through, I'm going to ask you to locate a golden line, a quote that stands out to you, and kind of already be thinking about explaining what you think it means or how you think it helps students understand why they should be studying history. So I've also included some stems. I know a lot of people have annotated in other classes or perhaps talked to the text. So especially in an online learning class, as much as I can, giving you a space to jot down notes. Because if you're like myself, sometimes when I read things, I tend to space out. So just being honest. So it's really important if you're taking online text that you want to give yourself a tool Like I said, whether it's jotting down notes in a notebook or whether it's annotating directly in the document to make sure that you can go back and reference. So if you click on the Why Study History article, we'll go ahead and open it up, and it will look something like this. So if I go through the article and let's say something catches my attention, let me see, how can we understand genius, the influence of technological innovation? So let's say I go ahead and read that, and then see right here over to the side will be the add the comment button. So then I click plus, and then that's where I would put my annotation. So expectation is you should at least try for it. This article I did chunk in different sections. So if you click through, there's little titles, right? History helps us understand people. History, understand change and how we became to be. Studying history is essential for good citizenship. So a good rule of thumb is after you read at least one passage of the text is you would want to go ahead and pause, and then that's where you would add your annotation. And then as you are adding your comments, you want to make sure that you think about which golden line would you really want to stake out so you can take it to the discussion board after you've annotated. All right, and the last one is 2.5, which is the flip grid. So this is the icebreaker, this is the game. I know, but trust, we're gonna have some fun with this, and I'm gonna play as well. So the game is called 3 Truths and a Lie. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna brainstorm 4 things about yourself, make them unique, make them clever. Of course, make sure they're school appropriate. Just have to put that out there, folks. The 3 of the things need to be true, and then 1 needs to be lie, or maybe just a little fib. Then you're going to use the link up here to access my Flipgrid, and that's where you're actually going to record your response. Now, when you do access Flipgrid, I do remind you, and I even put this in 1.4 as well, just a reminder of what is appropriate to record on the Flipgrid form. I use a little abbreviation, it's called PV legs, and that's just a strategy to remind you of things like poise, eye contact, gestures, things that are going to enhance your ability to speak into the camera. So you want to be careful you're not putting your head down or you're muffling. You want to speak clear. You want to try to look into the camera, so that way we can really almost like we're talking to you or hearing you face to face. So in that case, I put some more criteria. So once you look over here, you'll click here. Now the password, of course, naturally is going to be History Rocks. So, all right, other than that, that's kind of the general overview of week 2. If you have any questions, feel free to email me on Schoology. Other than that, this week of activities will be open starting today. It should be published, and you can go ahead and take a look at it throughout the week. Use that weekly calendar to start pacing out when do you think that you're best able to tackle some of these assignments. All right, I look forward to talking to you and hearing you, and especially I look forward to seeing your face on the Flipgrid format. All right, take care, you guys. Bye-bye.